This is Sick and Wrong, America's #1 source for antisocial commentary. Brought to you by the Reach Around Foundation.
Hey there. Welcome to Sick and Wrong, America's #1 source for antisocial commentary. I'm one of your hosts, D. Simon.
I'm your other host, Lance Wackerly.
What's up there, Lance?
Not a whole lot. Ready to do the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Podcast 17, no less.
The weekly podcast.
Dude, we've almost actually hit the milestone of 20 podcasts.
It's a big milestone.
Dude, yeah, 20 podcasts. There's a lot of podcasts that are so short-lived, they only have like maybe 5 episodes, and people just give up.
We're committed to this.
We're persevering. I know. There's just a lot of sick and wrong things going on out there in the world, and yeah, we need to publicize those things.
The thing that keeps me going is the feedback from the listeners.
Yeah.
Can't say that enough.
Feedback. Now, you know, someone on our MySpace page, our new MySpace page that we put up, someone wrote a really good description of the show. I think his name is the Detail Fiend, and he said that we like really look through unveil the cracks of our society or something. It was very apt. It was very.
Did he
well
say
put.
we're the wind beneath his wings?
I think we're his heroes.
It was implied.
I think we are. Seriously. So, anyways, dude, how was the weekend? Good.
Yeah, it was good.
Pretty good. You had
Sunny.
your lady up in town.
Fucking weather started turning finally up here,
which is rare. You know, it's funny. A story I want to share with the listening audience. Not entirely sick and wrong, but pretty interesting because it doesn't happen all that often. So I had to go to this shitty bar on Saturday night. The lady was celebrating the end of her play or her musical or whatever that she's in, and there was like a big cast party at this cabaret bar where they're all sitting around singing show tunes and shit like that. And so Wackerly came out with his lady for a little while for like a beer. And then we're hanging out.
It was the end of a long night for us. It was the beginning of the night for you guys. So.
Yeah, I had just, gotten over there. And I showed up for like the last 10 minutes of the musical, but I was there in time for the cast party. So my turn to do show tunes wasn't up for like at least an hour. So I went outside to go smoke a cigarette with Wackerly. And you ended up just taking off. And
well, after the cigarette.
Well, yeah, you smoked a cigarette and you're with your lady, and she wanted to jet. So you guys left, and it must not have been like maybe 3 minutes after you left. Remember I was talking to that hippie girl?
Right.
So this hippie girl gave me a cigarette, and I was sitting there talking to her. Well, I think she was like from Florida or something. And right when during our mid-conversation, the door like smashes open from this bar, and these 2 Mexican dudes just kind of fall out into the street. One of them's just really wasted. And the other guy was just kind of, standing his ground, but they're both pretty drunk.
A fracas?
It was a fracas, definitely. And so the one dude, the shorter of the 2 Mexican guys, just looks at the other guy, takes his coat off, and he's like, "Puta! Chinga tu madre!" And like starts, going off in all these Spanish expletives. I couldn't really understand what he was saying. And they had a third guy, another friend, who I think was trying to calm the situation. And so he just put up his dukes. And it looked like they're squaring off, ready to fight.
Wow.
And so I was just kind of like, dude, this is awesome. So, we're just kind of watching it. And, dude, it was probably one of the best fights I've seen in like 2 years. Because you know how most fights tend to devolve into wrestling? They're wrestling on the ground, then one guy gets the better of the other guy and just starts beating his head in.
Right.
On the ground. This was like watching a welterweight, like Oscar de la Hoya or something. Like these 2 guys were like, there's no wrestling. It was punching.
Yeah, Mexican dudes don't wrestle.
Dude, they don't fuck around. And it was great. Like the one dude that was really drunk that took his shirt off that was calling the other guy a puta, he just kind of walks over and he's swinging punches. And the guy's just kind of dodging them. And then the taller guy just like connects with this like 3-punch combination that would have just knocked me out.
And then it was over.
No, that's the best part. Is he hits the guy in the gut and then hits him like twice, like, right in the head, knocks the guy to the ground, and then proceeds to like beat in his face with his boot. I mean, there was blood spraying on the parked cars.
I mean, but I was going to say, this is kind of a sparsely areaed of town. It's not like, in the middle of a metropolitan area. So, I mean, there were like 4 of you watching, right? It wasn't like a huge crowd around.
No,
you guys were kind of exclusive fight.
Me, the hippie, and there's 2 guys that came from across the street, and we're just kind of watching this fight. And this dude seriously, he was beating this guy's face to a bloody pulp. And so that girl, the hippie girl, looks at me and she's like, "Why don't you do something?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Why don't you do something?" I'm like, "What do you want me to do?" She's
Throw
like,
a couple kicks yourself.
Yeah. She's like, "You should stop it."
Why don't you mix it up?
I looked at this. I'm like,
Weakling?
"Stop it! Why?" I mean, what really, like, would you have done anything? What are you going to do? Okay, excuse me, fellas, that's enough there. Fight fair. Come on, you go over to the other side.
Oh, what are you, Captain America or something?
Yeah, no shit. I'm looking at her. I'm just like, no. I'm actually enjoying myself.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, we should go inside. I'm like, you can go inside. And so she ends up going inside. And
She couldn't deal.
well, the best part about it, so the dude finally like relented and got up, you know, and he like let the other guy get up, and the guy is just, his face is just bloody. It's a bloody mess. Then the dude, and you know, I figured the fight would be done at that point. Then the dude takes his shirt off.
It ain't over till it's over.
He takes his shirt off, and the one guy's kind of walking away, and he looks at him. He's like, "Puta!" one more time, and just charges him. And this dude just kind of stepped to the side and delivered the coup de grace. It was just like a haymaker punch, and that dude was just on the ground, out.
The cops never came, huh?
Cops never came. And the funniest part about it is when he connected on that punch, everyone in the audience, including myself, were like, oh. Because, I mean, the guy just got hit so hard, he just fell on the ground, and then they just left him there.
And you just went inside? And
I
you
just
left
went
him there
inside. Well, my beer was getting, you know,
warm.
So I'm not going to just, like, sit there and let it get warm, and there's a beer.
Yeah, that's
in the
funny.
bar.
The last big fight that I saw was also two Mexican guys. It was down in the Mission in San Francisco, though. Those guys are just they're brutal,
But I mean,
man.
was it a punching fight where they're like
there's
squaring off?
they don't. I don't think Mexican guys wrestle when they fight. They're just it's not in their I don't know, genetic makeup or something, or cultural makeup. Although you did point out, yeah, that they do wrestle when they have masks on.
If those guys were wearing a mask and they're called like the, I don't know, Cuba Libre or something, they would be wrestling. But
yeah. That's a sanctioned thing, though, with pageantry and everything. We're talking about, you know,
that only goes on in Tijuana.
Street brawls.
Yeah, this was like a street brawl. And I mean, because, you know, usually when like we get into a bar fight or something, it's going to be like wrestling on the ground and then me running like a woman screaming.
Yeah. But, or just, you know, I'm big on the covering my head and going in the fetal position.
Yeah, roll up into a ball.
Into a little ball.
Usually what I do is
nobody can thwart the ball. The ball defense.
Usually what I do is I just kind of stand there, you know, just kind of freeze up and hoping they'll just go away or just kind of get tired of punching me.
And then you wake up, like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Covered in your own vomit and urine.
And my beer's all warm.
Yeah, your beer's warm. Right.
But no, anyways, it was a great fight. Made my weekend. I loved it. And the best part about it is I go in and I tell my girlfriend about it, and she's like, "You didn't come get me?"
Nice.
I'm like, yeah, I was just like, God, you know, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
You would have missed it if you would have went to get her.
I know. I'm not going to miss that. And the hippie girl just kind of gave me this, like, stink eye look. And I'm like, whatever, you dirty hippie. Go take a shower. So anyways. Well, it's Sick and Wrong Podcast 17. And, yeah, this is going to be a great show. One thing I wanted to mention to everyone before we get into the articles here is you got to check out the new website. The new and improved website. Thank you to Lance Wackerly. Courtesy of Lance Wackerly. It's called sickandwrongpodcast.com.
So easy to remember now. www.sickandwrongpodcast.com. No more of this crazy web address that me and you, D, can't even remember. So.
Dude, it just rolls off the tongue. It's sickandwrongpodcast.com.
The old one still
it's so
works.
Professional.
Yeah, the old one still works, but it'll just kick you over to the new one. So everybody, you probably should update your bookmarks at one point, but
and go check it out. But you know what the best part about it is? You upload those new pictures. We have a picture of Tom Cruise with his new kid.
Did you get the $8 million for that?
No, I sent it into all the different publications, AP, Reuters, all of them, and no one gave me any money for it, but I bet you they used the picture.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, if you want to go see the picture, go check out sickandwrongpodcast.com. Yeah, before it becomes big. You know, get it while it's hot. And then we also put that picture of the porn rabbi.
Right. The Jewish sex commando.
That was sent in to us by a listener. So, yeah. Definitely go check it out, sickandwrongpodcast.com.
I cleaned it up a little bit because it was a little raw, but I think people will still enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm using one of the Tom Cruise baby pics on the MySpace page, so you can go check it out. The way the show works, so just a quick recap, is Sick and Wrong is a discussion of, antisocial behavior.
Competition.
It's a competition, really. I find the most disgusting article that I consider, of the week, and Lance finds his most disgusting article. We go head-to-head here. The winner gets a case of beer, and the winner is decided by the listening audience. So email us and let us know which article you find personally most repulsive. sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com. So, did I start last week or did you start last week?
You blew me out of the water last week, but it was basically a forfeit because everybody knew it. Everybody knew it was going to happen. You were slaying,
dude. That was a good article.
Yeah.
Cannibals. You know, cannibals. Yeah, and someone actually wrote in, a listener sent in an email saying that that story got a perfect 10.
Yeah.
I remember we were arguing about it.
Well, yeah.
He didn't eat her, though. That was the one thing maybe that would have detracted.
Wanted to, but didn't.
10, yeah. His intentions were there.
I mean, we could discuss about what could have been sicker and wronger, and I could come up with some stuff. So I think I gave it like a 9.92 or something.
Yeah, it was close.
But
it
was pretty. You could round that up to a 10.
Yeah, if you want to hear that, go check out podcast 16. But this is podcast 17.
Yeah, that's old shit.
Yeah,
let's talk about new shit.
That's old news. So my article for podcast 17. So check out this headline. Driver hides body parts after grisly freeway crash. I guess this happened in Colton, California, which I believe is that somewhere in the middle?
Somewhere in the valley. The Central Valley. Yeah, sounds like it.
The call came in from a passing motorist that someone had just been struck on the freeway.
Death on the highway.
Death on the highway. Police officers arrived shortly after midnight. This has happened this past Friday night. And there they came upon a grisly scene. Body parts were strewn across the breakdown lane and adjacent median, which was sparsely covered in grass and weeds. Stranger still was the fact that all they found were pieces of the person's legs. There's
only the extremities, no trunk.
No, just the person's legs. The torso, arms, and head were nowhere to be seen.
I assume that's one of your primary responsibilities. If you're an emergency response medical technician, guys, you got to find kind of the key parts.
Well, you got to find the entire body.
But not the entire body. I mean, they're not going to stay there all day looking for a finger. But there's probably, the torso.
But you got to find the head.
The torso, the head. The head's probably the primary thing you're supposed to find.
You need the head. I just wonder what was going through their mind if they were just like, dude, what the fuck? There's just legs on the ground.
Yeah. Well, there are coyotes in the Central Valley, right?
Hyenas.
Well, there's no hyenas.
No. Body snatchers.
In your fantasy world, there's some hyenas.
Hyenas. I meant Mexicans. Anyways, so there were like body parts strewn across this highway, but they couldn't find the head, arms, or torso.
Key parts.
So the sheriff's department in San Bernardino County sent a helicopter out there to search for the body from above, and Colton Fire Engine arrived with infrared scanners to do the same, but still no luck.
What about a bloodhound? I thought that's what those were for.
Yep. Still no luck. So they searched for hours, and they still couldn't find anything. But one officer ended up getting lucky. The officer was driving on Valley Boulevard.
So lucky.
When he saw a car pulling out of a parking lot. The windshield had a huge bloody hole in it.
Oh.
That's got to give it away. But the best part about it, the guy who hit this person was still driving around the car.
He was going to go to the car wash tomorrow.
With a big-ass hole in his windshield?
Or maybe he was going to hand wash it. I don't know.
Well, the officer stopped the driver, Lawrence Chico, 20 years old, of Rialto, California, in the lot at a Denny's restaurant on West Valley Boulevard. This is in Colton. Chico's mother was sitting in the passenger seat. Apparently, Chico was planning on turning himself in after he spoke about what happened to his mother. He immediately cooperated with...
Wait. So that implies that he hadn't spoken to his mother about it, but he took her to Denny's with a big bloody hole in his windshield.
No, what happened?
Ma, I'll tell you about this hole with the blood and all the gore on the back seat later. But let's go to Denny's
because shut up.
I need some moons over my hammy.
Yeah, just shut up and sit there, be quiet. We're gonna go get steak and eggs, okay? No, I guess Chico immediately cooperated with authorities, led them across the street, and behind a Mexican steakhouse, they found a blue commercial trash bin, and inside was the rest of the woman's body.
This story's making me hungry.
Well, what's kind of funny about it? What's a Mexican steakhouse? Taco Bell?
No, carne asada, that sort of thing.
Well, that's what I was thinking. They're lucky that they found the torso before she became carne asada. You never know. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
It could happen.
Okay.
It could happen. I've seen worse. I guess because the impact...
I've eaten worse.
Yeah, no. When you head down to the Mission, you're taking your life into your own hands. Because the impact with Chico's car, it split the woman in half. I guess he explained to police that he was driving about 70 miles per hour east on the freeway. And then he just, didn't even see this lady crossing the freeway.
Yeah, why is she doing on the freeway, walking around?
Police have been unable to determine that. He hit the woman. Her upper body broke through his windshield and landed in the back seat of his 1987 Honda Prelude. Aren't those cars small?
They're pretty small, yeah.
Well, dude, he's lucky he didn't get, clocked by the body.
Yeah.
I guess he panicked and continued to drive to his job at Denny's.
He works at Denny's.
He works at Denny's. That's why I was getting to this.
He's got some bullshit shift manager that's just going to tear him a new one if he doesn't get there. And obviously,
it just didn't matter.
His
that
better
he hit
judgment
someone.
did not prevail. He was thinking I'm not going to catch a bunch of shit from my boss again.
Well, what's cool about the guy is at least he dumped the body in a trash can and then went to work.
Yeah.
So, he's reliable.
Hardworking guy.
At some point, he telephoned his mother, and she told him that he should turn himself in to authorities. He's been arrested on suspicion of felony hit and run and vehicular manslaughter. I guess the woman who was killed has been unable to be identified, and they said she's about 50 years old. But I was thinking about this. So let's say you're driving the highway or driving in the Tenderloin or something, and you hit a homeless lady. She flies in your car. What do you do?
Well, I'm not going to work.
You're not going to go to Denny's?
I'm not going to go to Denny's or work, or if I work at Denny's, I'm not going there.
But I mean, are you gonna dump the body? Because I was thinking about this. It's not like you could just kind of take the body out, leave a note on the ground,
tape to the forehead.
Just tape to the
with your phone
forehead.
With your phone number. Call me for insurance information.
Yeah, let's trade insurance information. Or my favorite thing is when if I get in a hit and run, in a mall parking lot or something, I'm just like, you're fucked. but the fact is, you left the note, so driving
looks like
passing
you wrote,
motorists
yeah,
look like you wrote something.
Down. Right.
So I mean, he could have done that.
You're an asshole.
Yeah, but he could have done that. But the thing is, dude, would you deal with a vehicular manslaughter charge, or would you just kind of take her out of your car and dump her on the ground and cruise? If there's no one around.
But the lesson here is that just cruising, you think you're getting away, but they're gonna find you. If you just left bodily carnage all over the highway, somebody's gonna find out and come and try and find you.
But my question is purely hypothetical here.
What would I do?
If it's 4 a.m, you're driving, in the city in the Tenderloin, you hit a homeless crackhead.
I'm looking for a hooker or some crack.
You're looking for a hooker
or some crack.
You hit a crackhead. He's split in half. Half of them's in your back seat. The other half's on the ground. Are you just going to take off? Especially if you're probably, you got a little buzz.
But, if I'm in the Tenderloin and I'm looking for crack and I hit a crackhead, the first thing I'm going to do is search the parts of the body that came in my car for crack.
But a crackhead usually doesn't have crack on them.
Yeah, they smoke that shit right away, huh?
But you know what this reminds me of? A recent case that happened probably a couple of years ago, where some younger woman hit a homeless guy, and he was still alive but trapped in her windshield. Do you remember this? And she drove to her house, parked the car in the garage, and just left him there.
Isn't that one of the plots of the Creepshow movies?
No, this actually happened.
Okay.
Yeah, this girl was charged with manslaughter.
I remember that.
And so she left him.
He lived for like a couple weeks.
I think he lived for like a couple days or maybe a week.
Yeah,
and then I don't know how she was found out. Someone found out or someone turned her in or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they found the car.
If we were doing the Sick and Wrong podcast back then, that would have made the show.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, this guy I guess you could hear him moaning while she was watching TV in her house. Fucking bitch. But anyways, the fact of the matter is, it's just, I was thinking about it. It's like, it kind of poses an ethical question here. Do you dump the torso in the trash can?
I don't know if I would call it an ethical question, because ethically, there's one thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stay there and wait for the cops to come and be like, this crazy bitch was walking across the highway and I hit her. I didn't expect it, and blah blah blah. But the question isn't ethical. It's how low can you go?
How low can you go? I honestly think this would ride my conscience, but I think I think I would probably end up just waiting for the cops. But it would suck, dude. I mean, wouldn't you be freaked out?
By saying that you're losing your sick and wrong credibility, but I guess we're not really supposed to be sick and wrong. We're just discussing sick and wrong things.
We're discussing what would happen here. And I just don't know if I'd be able to drive away with half a woman in my back seat.
It's an important distinction, though.
You know what I probably would have done? Tossed her out of the car and left a note.
taped to her forehead.
You can never go wrong with leaving a note. Well, finally, let me. One more thing I want to mention about this story. So they know what happened, but yet reporters want more information. So they decide to interview some of the employees at Denny's.
Like, what the hell do they know?
What the fuck does she have to say? So, I guess the employees at Denny's had been told not to speak with reporters. But yet, one worker sitting behind the restaurant with
Denny is a stern taskmaster.
She was smoking a cigarette on her break. The reporter asked her a question,
about right.
and this is what she said: "I'm the last person you want to speak with." And then she walked back inside.
I have nothing to say to you.
It's just like, why are you interviewing the Denny's employees anyways? They're working at Denny's.
Yeah, they have nothing else to do, those cops.
You know? I just don't get it. Well, anyways, on the sick and wrong scale, since the woman was split in half, and the guy threw her in a dumpster.
That's a automatic 5 points. Or 0.5 points.
Yeah, you're gonna have. She was split in half.
That's an automatic. I'm saying automatic 0.5.
There were carnage strewn across the highway. I'm gonna have to give this a 7.5.
I also like how he involved his mother in this, which is good.
You know what I kind of like is the fact that his mother was sitting in the bloody car.
Yeah, I wonder if he was waiting to take his car to get washed the next day, but he didn't. Did he wash out the inside before he picked up his mom?
I think he was driving to the police station with his mom. That's what I think.
Yeah,
because
support.
He was planning on turning himself in. But you know what? I wonder, like, did they put a tarp down? It's kind of like that scene in Pulp Fiction. Remember when he blew the one dude's brains out?
Yeah.
And Harvey Keitel had to clean the car.
A quilt.
Yeah. That's what I wonder. Like, did he put a quilt down, or is the mom just kind of sitting in the brains?
In the carnage.
Yeah, in the carne asada.
Carnage asada.
So I'm going to give it a 7.5.
I'll give it a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what you got.
You want to hear what I got?
Bring it.
All right, let's hear this.
Lance Wackerly, ladies and gentlemen.
This story actually happened a year ago, but like they kind of kept it under wraps for a while there. But the reason it's current is because it just came out in an article in the current issue of the Journal of Neurosurgery, which is something I think I might have to start reading after this week. After reading
Journal of Neurosurgery?
Yeah, after
Is it available online?
I don't know. I'm going to have to find that out. But after reading this article, it's something I might have to keep up on. This also happened on the West Coast, but up north in Oregon, whatever they call it.
People in Michigan pronounce it Oregon.
About a year ago, an Oregon man went to the hospital complaining of a headache.
An Oregonian.
Unidentified 33-year-old man was suicidal and high on methamphetamine. This is one of those morality tales. So he's suicidal and high on meth. Hey kids, don't do meth.
Yeah,
makes you do this kind of stuff.
Although I've heard that meth is quite popular amongst the kids these days.
Yeah, especially on the West Coast. And I guess it's moving eastward as we speak.
It's scary.
So he came in complaining of a headache, but he was found to have 12 nails buried in his skull. The nails were not visible when doctors first examined the man in the emergency room of this hospital. A day later... So he went in and said, "Hey, and this is okay."
So he goes in complaining of a headache.
If you go to the emergency,
and you couldn't see the nails.
Well, this is another
12.
This is another current sign of the times, to quote Prince. If you go to the emergency room and you say, "I have a headache," they're not going to do shit for you. No. You're going to sit there. They'll make you fill out like 12 different pieces of paper, but you're just going to sit there forever if you just say, "I have a headache." They don't give a shit.
Unless there's like a spike sticking out of your head,
but
or
they
something.
weren't. So they weren't visible.
Okay.
So a day later,
it's got to kill the buzz.
Even a day later, when the doctors examined him, they still didn't see the nails. But they were surprised when X-rays revealed that 6 nails were clustered behind his right eye and ear, 2 below his right ear, and 4 on the left side of his head.
Damn, dude. What the fuck? How do you get 12 nails in your head?
So the Journal of Neurosurgery article would not say how long the nails were, but there is a picture. There's an X-ray if you go to read the journal, and it looks like the nails were about 1.5 to 2 inches long each.
Wow, we should post that picture on the website.
No one before is known to have survived after intentionally firing so many foreign objects into the head, according to the report.
So wait, he intentionally did this?
Yeah, he was high on meth, suicidal, and decided to take a nail gun and just plow like 12 nails into his head. And then, I don't know if he forgot that he did it, but then he decided...
I gotta go do some more speed.
Well, no, he probably did more speed. But then he went to the emergency room and said, "Hey, I have a headache."
He probably took like 10 Excedrin before this. It was like, God, this is a migraine.
They also this article that I got, it's about a USA Today. It doesn't make a whole lot of narrative sense, but because there's another line that says the man at first told doctors he had a nail gun accident, but later admitted it was a suicide attempt. But they still didn't check for the nails immediately, I guess.
But what I don't understand is, of all the myriad ways to commit suicide, why would you do 12 nails to the head?
High on meth.
Dude, a tweaker with a nail gun is a scary thing.
Yeah, for everybody around.
A tweaker with a nail gun is just not something I ever want to be around.
So the patient was in remarkably good condition when he was transferred to Oregon Health and Science University in Portland, where the nails were removed. I guess it sounds like about 2 days later. The nails came close to major blood vessels in the brainstem, but did not pierce them. So,
did it go through his skull?
Oh yeah, they're buried in his head. They couldn't. Do you understand what I'm saying?
He was buried in his.
He was in the emergency room. Said, "I have a headache." None of the
couldn't see the nails.
No, they were deep inside his skull. They finally removed the nails at Oregon Health and Science University in Portland. They take him to like a specialist, hospital at a school. The patient, after they took the nails out, he went through his recuperation. The patient was later transferred to psychiatric care and stayed under court order for nearly a month before leaving against doctor's orders.
He left.
Fuck you guys! I'm out of here.
He was probably jonesing.
Yeah, he needed some more.
Yeah, he needed some more speed. Damn, dude, the thing is that bothers me about this article is, why do doctors need to save a guy like this? I mean, I guess it's their job. I guess it's their duty. Yeah, it's their Hippocratic oath. But at the same time, it's just like...
He'll have to do more speed.
You talk about waste of flesh.
His life didn't get any better after this, so he's still going to be suicidal.
Yeah, I imagine it. I imagine his life. I kind of wish there was a little more background, like what the guy did for a living. He probably worked at Denny's.
Yeah, for some reason they're very keeping the cards close to their chest about. They don't mention what the guy's name is. They don't talk about his history. Maybe if I go and look and find the actual journal article, maybe I can get a little more information. But this is just a USA Today article.
I kind of doubt that he was really a productive member of society.
I imagine he worked construction.
Yeah, because he had the nail gun.
He has access to a nail gun.
Which is also another scary notion that a bunch of tweakers are sitting there building something, with power tools.
What's he going to use next? A circular saw? I don't think he's going to make it through that one.
I mean, I can understand. I wonder if he went in there saying it was an accident. Did he mention that it was like an accident, or was he just like, yeah, I was trying to kill myself, and the best thing I could come up with was 12 nails to the head?
There's 3 stages to this guy's story. He just went in and said he had a headache, which we discussed. If you go to the emergency room and say you have a headache, nobody's going to do shit.
No.
Then he said, oh, I had a nail gun accident.
Oh, so he did. He mentioned that he had an accident.
At some point, but no, they still didn't check his skull for nails.
Yeah, I accidentally slipped and it just fell on my head and it just kept shooting nails into my head all over.
And then they finally found the 12 nails buried in deep inside his head.
God, dude. Wow. What a loss that would have been. I
imagine he must have some scraggly Bob Madigan haircut. That's an obscure inside reference, but D knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
where you don't see the
mutual crackhead that we know.
You don't see the pierce marks just because there's just this mass of scraggly, dirty, never
what
washed
it probably was?
hair.
It was probably a mullet because he's in Oregon. He's a tweaker. It's probably this mullet, and it just was buried underneath the mullet.
Business in the front, nail scars in the back.
Nail scars in the back.
Okay.
I kind of wonder what he was depressed about, but probably his life.
Yeah, probably everything.
Probably everything. Well, I don't know, man. That's pretty sick. It's pretty wrong. But he didn't die.
No, but actually, I want to give it a couple novelty points because he didn't die. Because most of our stories end with a corpse.
Yeah,
or begin with a corpse. Or begin with a corpse. But there's no corpse in this story. Or
someone eats the corpse or fucks the corpse.
Yeah. There's always a corpse, but there's no corpse in this story, so I'm going to mix it up a little bit with this non-corpse story.
Gotta give you points for originality.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm giving it an 8.
I'm not giving it an 8. I'm going to have to give that a 7.
This is one of those weeks.
It's one of those weeks.
We need the listeners.
It's one of those weeks. I think we're going to need the tiebreaker, which is going to be the listeners. So send us your vote, sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com. Tell us which article's sicker. The guy that, ripped the lady in half, by hitting her on the freeway, or the tweaker with nails in his head.
I think you described your story with more embellishment than you just described my story, which I feel is a little unfair.
The tweaker who
drove nails into his own head, which stayed there for weeks on end before doctors actually were able to pull them out.
You're making him sound like a martyr here, like Jesus or something.
All right, Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
But seriously, people, email in quickly, because when people don't email in, we have to keep this beer fund in an escrow account, and it's harming our finances and our tax situation.
And we only have like 4 beers left, so yeah, we need to decide this soon.
We're in an emergency mode here.
sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com. Well, the music's starting, so I think we need to wrap up the show. But so we've been getting a lot of listener email on the MySpace page. Someone sent me
great.
Yeah, some guy sent me a pretty good article, which I might try to do next week, about some old lady that was tasered to death or something.
Youch.
Yeah, we're gonna have to discuss that next week.
I'd like to know why an old lady needed to be tasered to begin with.
I think all old people need to get tasered every now and then.
Yeah, but usually you could just take their walker away and they'll fall down.
Smack them with their cane or something.
Or just take their cane away.
We'll have to get
into
that with podcast 18. People keep sending in your articles, and definitely send in your own Sick and Wrong stories. sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com. But the one thing I want to end the show with here is an educational piece, which I think can help most of our male listeners out there. But female listeners, you can listen with rapt curiosity, but it's not really going to pertain to you. This is more for the male listening audience. One thing I've always wondered, and I've always, been kind of intrigued about.
Where do babies come from?
No, I learned that yesterday.
Okay.
No, one thing I've always wondered is, how come some men have like huge balls? How come some men have elephantitis in the nuts, whereas other guys like myself just have a normal package?
Like raisins?
Yeah, like 2 little matzo balls. But no, I've wondered this, and I found out a way that you can get huge testicles.
Really?
So if you want to impress the ladies with a big package, because I know all girls out there love a big package.
Yeah, they do.
Here's a way you can do it. So African tribal men eat cows' menstrual matter to grow large testicles.
Ooh.
Did you know that?
Sometimes the cure is just a little too much and you're just not going to do it.
Scanty nourishment and the permanent lack of microelements and vitamins made people of the Bubal tribe in northern Africa ask their only wealth, cows that is, for help.
Is this tribe a division of Google?
No, it's Bubal. B-U-B-A-L.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is it one of Google's new developmental areas?
I think Google categorized them, so now they belong to Google, much like everyone does.
Okay.
I think we all belong to Google. But I don't know if you can... I've Googled like how to get big testicles, and they didn't tell me anything. But I found this on sensibleerection.com, which is a great website. Great website for...
community blog type thing.
Very, very educational. So the tribers learn that eating the menstrual matter of cows helps them fight such diseases as scurvy and leukemia, but it also helps them to grow large testicles. The mysterious tribe and their cows roam on the border between Kenya and Somalia. And what they do, the Bubals believe that licking of the cow's vagina makes would-be warriors strong and courageous. An Italian scientist...
It takes a lot of courage to do that, I'll admit.
Dude, you got to see the picture of this little tribal kid. He kind of looks like
quid pro quo.
Well, he kind of looks like one of those Ethiopian kids. Yeah. Remember that kid in South Park? What was his name?
I don't know.
I forgot what the little Ethiopian kid is, but he's got that big gut that they all do, and he's just bent over, licking out this cow from behind.
Takes a lot of courage.
Which I imagine the cow probably enjoys. But Italian scientists recently discovered that the menstrual matter of cows is a source of vitamins such as B6, B12, E, and D. In addition, it makes up for the deficiency of iron, magnesium, and calcium, potassium that they don't usually get in their regular diets. Hormone changes become extremely conspicuous with all males of the African tribe. Their testicles, as they're reaching puberty, grow up to 70 to 80 centimeters in diameter. The miracle of nature happens on account of the untraditional nourishment that tribal individuals practice in their adolescence. So by eating the menstrual fluid right out of the cows, they get giant nuts. And what's noteworthy is giant testicles do not exert any negative influence on the reproductive function.
Yeah, but it must make it a little harder to chase down the female cows.
Well, what do you mean, walking around with a big sack?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, I mean, it doesn't detract from the reproductive function, but it does cause other obvious problems, such as, you have to get like really special tailored underwear.
Yeah,
and, like,
pants don't fit anymore. They probably don't wear. They probably don't wear pants.
Wear overalls. No,
yeah, they probably don't wear pants.
Yeah, no, seriously, they just let their balls hang. And what's great about it, what I always thought, the reason I was so envious is there's a great picture of like the tribesmen. They're kind of sitting on them like a beanbag. Like, you don't need to have a chair when you have nuts that big. You can just sit there and just chill on your nuts.
Yeah.
Or if you kind of want to get around, but you don't feel like walking, you just kind of bounce. You kind of hold your dick and you just kind of bounce around.
Yeah.
Like you're on like one of those little Kango boards or whatever those were.
Yeah.
But I guess tourists from all over the world are ready to pay huge money to take a look at these giant nuts. So it's helping their society. Tourists
should not be paying money to take a look. They should be paying money to take a lick.
Take a lick. Exactly. You can lick some cows, this magical menstrual fluid, and grow big nuts. So I was just sharing this.
I think that's a real entrepreneurial opportunity for somebody out there to coordinate this vacation program.
Dude, I think it might help. I bet you it might help like ghetto children.
Somehow that makes sense.
It kind of does, dude.
I don't know how exactly, but somehow what you just said makes sense.
I think it might help.
I'll think
the
about it later.
Underprivileged ghetto kids. Just lick a cow when it's ragging.
I think one of guys' major problems, though, is that not getting big balls, but counteracting saggy balls, which just happens with age.
Oh, the fact that the balls sag.
I think that's the way I would market it, is saying, do you have saggy balls? Would you like your balls to be bigger, fuller? Less saggy.
The size of a basketball?
Less saggy.
I have basketballs.
Come on our African safari where you will lick the vagina of a cow and your balls will swell up to just too big, larger than you even want them.
You can walk around proud with your scrotal masterpiece.
Right.
No, seriously, you can. But anyways, I was sharing that with the listening audience because I know a lot of people out there have been wondering how they can get their balls a little larger.
Most people do.
Yeah, a little larger to attract.
So even the ladies, I mean, a lot of ladies are married and they might want their husbands to have a bigger ball. So I think this story does appeal to the ladies.
Well, a lot of guys don't know that women really do love a big sack. I mean, people say its size matters, but they're not really talking about their dick. They're talking about the sack.
Yeah, girls love the big balls. It's the first. It's their primary concern.
Yeah, they love a big satchel. They really do. Well, especially one that could just smother them to death.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll be doing a sick and wrong article in the future about someone smothering their lover to death with big nuts.
If your balls make your penis look small, that's an awesome thing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, we'll send you a case of beer. Definitely.
Yes.
All right. On that note, I think we're gonna have to get out of here. I gotta take a shit. But we'll be back next week.
It always ends this way.
It always does, dude. I don't know what it is. I think this show just kind of gets my bowels moving. Something. Well, stay tuned next week for Podcast 18. Until then, take it sleazy.
Do your balls hang low? Do they wobble to and fro? Do they something, something, something? Can you tie them in a bow?
It's a pretty good song.
Yeah. Goodbye.